Are you frustrated when you achieve one thing in your life, but then other things fall apart? Well, you're in luck because we got Apollo here today to talk to us about Crosscheck. All right, fighter pilots like Apollo and I are trained to make decisions at 800 plus miles an hour, and that is really applicable to high performance professions. We joined together to build the biggest online community of fighter pilots to help action takers like yourself in short, impactful steps. That'll help you avoid failure that we've made and achieve success. Welcome to the show, Apollo.
Thanks for having me here, man.
Yeah. So, dude, we're going to jump right into this because I know that your time when you're trying to overcome those hurdles in your life is short. And so you need some short, punchy, anecdotal stories. So we're going to start out with Apollo, who wrote a chapter in our first book of Single Seat Wisdom that you can see right here. And he talks about Crosscheck. So, in the vein of Crosscheck, Apollo, right? What was your biggest failure in life, and how do you think that your Crosscheck kind of ties in with that?
No, that's good. You don't kick it off with like my biggest success or how awesome I am. We're just gonna go straight into
straight to the failure.
No, that's good.
Gut punch.
So I would say for failure, I'd say there were two things that I really failed at, and the first one is like the obvious or the physical. So when I was the fourth flight that I ever had in an airplane in the Air Force, I crashed. Which, like, when you're a pilot, your whole goal is do not crash the plane. So yeah, just like total epic fail. After that, like, I was able to get back flying again. I was able to pass through that program, and I continued on with my career. And I kind of looked at that as a way that it was a kind of, not a chip on my shoulder, but maybe like I had something to prove. Where I didn't want to be that guy that just crashed the plane, and so I would work hard, and I just wanted to be the best pilot that I could be. And I would say ultimately my biggest failure was the fact that as I was trying to do all these things and I was achieving success in flying and being a pilot, I was totally failing at all of the other things that are actually way more important in my life, in my relationships, in my family, in my faith. Like all of these things I just totally left by the wayside in this pursuit of trying to be the best pilot.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, everybody knows about the Top Gun story. Everybody knows about those types of dudes, and Drew's one of them. He went to Top Gun school for the Air Force. He's a weapons officer. Big brain Drew here telling us about these failures. But where you can get impact from that is knowing that you can fail and then get back on the horse, or in his case, get back in the airplane and continue flying. All right. So I would say what, for our listeners, what is the biggest personality trait that, maybe led you to be a peak performer, or I guess ensured your success the best, as you're trying to like find your own way? If you could have a personality trait, what would that be?
I think just looking back at my own life and now being able to instruct and seeing other students, the biggest personality trait that I think people succeed with is just an aggressive growth mindset, growth mindset. So what I mean by that is, no one is naturally good at flying fighter jets. Like zero people can just get in a fighter jet and just take off and be an amazing pilot.
I thought I was the only one.
you might be the one.
No, that was bad.
Okay, yeah. No, I was terrible, right? I crashed a plane one of the first time I tried to fly it. But it's this idea that if you have a relentless mindset to be able to learn and grow and become better, those are the best pilots, like by far, right? Because everyone starts off and they suck. They do. Yeah. But it's the guys that over time, they come back and they say, no, I want to learn. And they don't look at failure as, oh, I'm a bad pilot. They look at it as, okay, I have more to learn. Yeah. Right? And just that aggressive, relentless mindset to be the best, to be perfect, to always learn. Like those are the guys that end up going to weapons school, the Air Force's Top Gun. Like those are the best pilots that I know, is they're continuing to try to learn and be the best.
So what I'm hearing is that you don't have to have those traits. They can be learned.
Yes.
You can learn all that stuff. Yeah. Your brain is plastic. You can teach yourself how to do that.
Dude, I did not have a growth mindset in high school. I was like...
Yeah, neither did I. So I like to play baseball a lot. Okay, last question, then we'll jump into the final part of it is every day, if you had, what's like their most impactful habit that you have every day that maybe serves you the best, that serves your family and more or less ties into this Crosscheck that you talk about in the book, like that kind of keeps everything together, right? Maybe it's not perfect. maybe you fail here, fail there, right? Because failures are going to happen as you're like charting your path to success. But like if there was like one habit, what would that be?
I would say something that helps for me and that I would recommend for your listeners would be take some time out of every day, just a little chunk of time, to prioritize your life. Whether that's prayer, whether that's meditation, or whether that's just like writing down in a journal to just say, you know what, these are the things that are important to me in my life. These are the things that are important to me today, and I'm going to tackle those. Because at the end of the day, even if you're super motivated, even if you have a ton of skill and talent, but if you don't have a vector, if you don't have like where you're going, then it does, like you're never going to get anywhere. Yeah. And so that's just something, I mean, every day, right? Just sitting down and going, okay, what do I care about in my life? Like, who do I want to be? And then focusing on what are the tasks or how do I get to that point?
Yeah. So if you're struggling with your goals, and it sounds cheesy, a lot of people, you'll hear this and it's false advice. If you don't write stuff down, a lot of times it won't happen, because that's the way that you hold yourself subconsciously accountable for what you've set out to do, right? That's why we sign our names to contracts, right? Because then you have a contract, your name's assigned to it, and you know you're going to do it. So what Drew's hitting at is, if you think that if you're a dude and you think journaling is cheesy, call it something else, call it scribing, right? But write it down, write your goals down, because every day what you'll find out is when you write that stuff down, one, you're going to hold yourself accountable, and two, it puts it in your subconscious. So the next day you're going to wake up, and as you sleep, your brain's fantastic. It'll start working that stuff out for you, right? And then as you're sitting there the next day, like Drew was talking about, where you're now like, okay, what's in my cross-check? Well, as you take that time for, prayer, spirituality, just quiet time, right? And just sitting there and going, dude, where am I going with my life? If it's written down, your brain will figure things out, and you'll look back literally a week later and you'll be like, dude, I can't even believe that I thought that. That's so easy now, right? And you'll just start overcoming those hurdles you never thought possible.
Yeah.
Any pile-ons to that?
Yeah, no, I would just say, right, this cross-check, this idea of hyper-focusing on the things that are most important in your life. Like, that is the way you don't drop the ball or flame out, right, with your family, with your faith, with like these things that are ultimately, when you die, are going to be the most important things to you. And the way that you can juggle having like a high-performance career or job or like you name it, to be able to do all of that and still have like the satisfaction or feel that you have purpose in your life.
Yeah, solid. And if you don't write it down, it doesn't happen. Yep. It'll fall out of your cross-check. I have found, dude, I was a peak performer, high achiever, and when I started writing things down, I didn't realize how many things I was forgetting every day, and it, I didn't really have the defined vector that I have with my life now. Probably do 10 times as much in half as much time. So, Drew, thanks for being here today. How can people learn more about you? What do you have to offer?
Yeah. So first of all, check out Single Seat Wisdom. I wrote the first chapter in it, so you can check that out there. And then check it out. My wife and I have a ministry called To the Heights Ministry. We love taking people like you and having them reach new heights in their faith with their family, like all that stuff that I failed horribly at is what I'm trying to help people do. So totheheightsministry.com, you can check us out, Instagram, Facebook, To the Heights Ministry, all that.
Sweet. So for everybody, totheheightsministry.com. Drew, thanks for being here today. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to singleseatwisdom.com and pick up the book and read Drew's chapter on Crosscheck.